Joe Budden has finally gone too far. Now the Joe Budden and Logic beef has been heavily publicized. And when I say beef, I mean Joe Budden bullying Logic.
All right, this is Logic. She said she ain't never done shit like this before. I said, I know you ain't, but girl, just let it go. I'm finna flow. I'm finna catch a flow. Like, whoa. Get your ass on the pole. Let your worries go. She said, yo, why do people listen to Logic? I wish I had Logic's phone number. Logic, you are easily one of the worst rappers to ever grace a microphone. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what they telling you at Def Jam.
Yeah,
I know
man.
you sold a lot of records.
do that.
I know you fucking
There's
sell
worse
out.
rappers than
I know
Logic.
you sell out. No, there's not. I know you sell out a whole bunch of tours, and I know just how successful you are. I have to be honest. You are horrible, man.
In a later interview with Rory and Mal, Logic will reveal that when Joe Budden called him the worst rapper ever, he felt like an absolute failure, and no amount of personal success could help him not feel like a failure.
Joe Budden said Logic is the worst rapper to ever grace the microphone in the history of hip hop. Those words came out of his mouth.
We were sitting next to him. I remember.
I read this and my heart rate explodes. And I'm like, oh my God. And I go out and I'm at like the Garden. And everyone's like rapping my lyrics and whatever.
And you still felt
And I'm like, I'm a failure.
that's
You got a crush on Joe?
Joe Budden wouldn't let up on Logic and made Logic a consistent target. And Logic would even tell Peter Rosenberg that Joe Budden's critiques of him has made him depressed.
I've been frustrated by his opinion on this before, but how did you take his sort of critiques of you, if you want to call it that?
It's funny because I've never watched Joe. I just don't, because I don't want to subject myself to that. I literally have no issue with Joe Budden. I've never met him. I don't know him. I've never shaken his hand. We've never had a conversation as men. This is what he does. He doesn't rap anymore. You know what I mean? He speaks on the culture and this and that, and that's cool. I'm not in control of this guy. This dude doesn't like me for whatever reason. He wants to say I'm not black enough, I'm not good enough. He's a person who's led to part of my depression at some of my darkest spaces. And he can take that however he wants. He can take it as, oh, I'm not in. Bro, your words, they make people want to kill themselves, dog.
Logic will literally release a song describing how the beef with Joe Budden has deteriorated his mental health.
Every life precious, but nobody care about mine.
And how he's thinking about unaliving himself. Now, the song will be listed as an unaliving awareness for other people going through the same thing. Joe Budden was recently on the Pivot podcast where they would ask Joe Budden about that particular Logic song and other comments made by Logic where Logic states that Joe Budden words have made people want to unalive themselves in the past.
So, yeah, I just thought it was sloppy.
Joe, what do you feel then when you hear someone, when you yourself say you very public about things you've dealt with from a mental health standpoint and trying to advocate for those things, even public about thoughts and attempts. When an artist says your words pushes people to think about.
Who said that?
Logic.
Logic is full of shit.
This is just a trend of Joe Budden being unusually cruel to Logic. They're asking you about Logic deteriorating mental health and Logic saying that your words had such an impact on him that he once wanted to unalive himself because of something that you said. And your first response isn't, man, bro, I wish him healing energy. Your first response is, bro, he full of ish. Like, to hate this man so much that you're incapable of even feeling empathy for a similar pain and struggle that you've dealt with, because Joe Budden has been open in public about having unaliving thoughts, about unaliving attempts on his own life. So for him to know what that feels like and to say that Logic is full of ish after Logic was open in public with his battle with mental health, to me, it's just unusually cruel. And it makes no sense why he hates Logic so much.
Logic's full of shit. I don't believe it.
How, if you have dealt with this, if you've actually dealt with suicidal thoughts, if you've dealt with things from a mental health standpoint, how can you, if he says it, what makes you know he's full of crap?
You can't know and you can't prove it. But Logic is full of it.
That's the third time he said Logic is full of ish without really giving any reason why he thinks Logic is full of ish. Now, Logic has done some wrong in the past, bruh, right? That Ice Cube It Was a Good Day remix was absolutely crazy, right? Like, that should have never been done. Or his consistent conversations and bars about being mixed. Like, we get it, bro, you're black, right? So we know why Logic can be annoying. But to be this unusually cruel to Logic for what reason, it just doesn't make sense at all. Now, Joe Budden finally gives a reason other than Logic is full of ish as to why he believes Logic is full of ish.
What makes you think he's
just his now he gonna go for the next 6 months. Just Logic put out a song with mental health as the phone number. 1-800, whatever the that shit was. Pandering bull.
This just goes to show that Logic can do no good in Joe Budden's eyes. Now, it's unclear Joe Budden's real beef with Logic because it can't just be that Logic makes music that is annoying, right? I refuse to believe that Joe Budden is going this hard on Logic because Logic makes music that's annoying. Now, Logic making an unalive awareness song where he puts the phone number to the unalive hotline in the title so people who are suffering with this can have access to the phone number and have access to who to call for help if they need it. For Joe Budden to have an issue with that, bro, this shows Joe Budden is like the new old grumpy uncle in hip hop, bro. And the funny thing about it is that Logic isn't even some type of newer act. He's part of the same class or group or era as Joe Budden. So Joe Budden is hating on one of his contemporaries.
Everything about Logic is pandery. So there's really no way to ever tell what's truthful and what's not truthful. So let me say that. And since he said that, I try to take him off my list of people to speak about because I do have a heart, right? But I do think he's full of shit.
Do Joe Budden know that when he do these podcasts with people outside of hip hop and say these statements that are just not true, that people who actually know the truth and watch his content and is tapped into the culture, that we actually watch these interviews too, right? And we know when you're lying. Joe Budden says that he hasn't spoken on Logic ever since, or he's gone out of his way not to speak on Logic because he don't want to contribute to Logic deterioration of his mental health, which is absolute BS, bro. Joe Budden was just on his podcast calling Logic a weirdo because Logic dropped a song where he stated that him and his siblings and his mom got jumped because his mom called somebody to hard ER at a grocery store. So, and he even went ahead and reacted to Logic's Ice Cube remix, It Was a Good Day. And he was harsh, on that as well with Logic, right? So Joe Budden by no means has made a concerted effort to not speak on Logic. It's just an outright lie. Now, it's unclear when this Joe Budden Logic beef will be solved. It's not even beef. It's just Joe Budden bullying the kid and the kid feeling like he's hopeless because of Joe Budden got his foot on his neck and Joe Budden being probably the most important voice in hip-hop media, second to DJ Academics. But y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this, all right? And if you're still watching, click on this video here somewhere on my screen to find out how this interview just got this blogger in some serious legal issue. Click on this video here to find out what I'm talking about. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.